week, I don't know, 6 or 7 of this quarantine. I hope everybody's staying strong, spending time with families, and staying safe most of all. This week's lesson is going to be different than last week's. Rather than continue to talk about arrays, we're going to work into rounding 2-digit measurements to the nearest 10 on a vertical number line. I'm going to be skipping around because what the third grade teachers really want to do is make sure that you guys are best prepared for fourth grade as possible. So with that being said, we want to cover many bases that we know that you guys are going to be using next year in class. So without further ado, let's begin. We're going to start by renaming tens. So when I say write 9 tens, what number do you say? Well, 9 tens, 9 tens, that's 90. I'm going to go ahead and I have a trick. I'm going to have a 9, and I know a 10 has a 0 in it, so 9 tens is going to give me 90. 9 times 10 is 90. Now I have write 10 tens. So I'm going to start out with the number 10. Write 10 tens. Oh, I know, 10 times 10, that gives me 100. 10 tens equals 100. Write 12 tens. Once again, I'm going to start off by writing the number 12. 12 tens. Well, 12 times 10 is going to give me 120. I'm going to add a 0 on the end. And lastly, we're going to write 17 tens. 17 tens. Okay, I'm going to write 17 and I'm going to put a 0 on the end. At home, I'd like for you to make sure you have your paper out. I would like for you to write on your paper 23 tens. Go ahead and write 23 tens. Well, if we have 23 tens, we're going to write the number 23, and we can add a 0 on the end to make the number 230. 23 times 10 is 230. Let's keep going. Write 27 tens. 27 tens. 27 times 10 is 270. Write 37 tens. 37 times 10, that's 370. You guys catching on to this pattern, how I just write the number and I can add a 0 on the end? It's like a nice quick trick. Write 87 tens. I'm going to write the number 87 and put a 0 right there on the end. That's 870. And lastly, we have 84 tens. I'm going to write the number 84. We're talking about tens, so I've got to add that 0 on the end. Now let's see if I can trick some of you. I bet I can't because you're all too smart. What about 100 tens? 100 tens. What would that look like? What number would that be? Well, if I start with the number 100, and I know the trick to naming tens is to add a 0 on the end. So 100 tens would be 1,000. Some of you, most of you, all of you got that right, I bet. We're going to keep on going. Now we're going to look at a number line. This is a vertical number line, and that is a number line that looks a little bit different than what you might have seen before. This number line goes up and down from top to bottom. So when we talk about halfway on the number line, there's usually a number that's labeled on the top, a number that's labeled on the bottom, and then this blue line here in the middle is the number that we need to label. So if we're finding the halfway point on the number line, I'm just going to highlight that with this red X right here. We specifically want to find this halfway point. Well, this picture actually provides us with the notches. So instead of taking a guess, why don't we count to start? So this is number 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And that makes sense because halfway but between 10 and 20 is 15. So I'm going to go ahead and label that as 15. Okay, we're going to move on. Halfway on the number line. So once again, I have the number 30 here at the bottom. I have the number 40 here at the top. They want us to label the halfway point on our number line. So thankfully, we've been provided with these lines once again, so I'm going to go ahead and count them and make sure that my answer makes sense. 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. And 35 makes complete sense because halfway between 30 and 40 is the number 35. So I'm going to go ahead and label that as my halfway point on my number line. I'd like for you to take a moment and practice drawing your own number line, your own vertical number line. So I'd like for you to start by just drawing a line up and down, and we're going to recreate the one that we see right here. Draw a line up and down. You're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lines. So I'm going to quickly go ahead and do that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I want you to put your lines onto your number line. It takes me a lot longer on this computer. I'm sure if you guys are at home using paper and pencil, you're much faster and it probably looks much better than mine, but I'm trying my best. Okay, we're almost there. Ideally, all of my lines would be the same space apart, but like I said, it's really hard to do on the computer. All right, so we're just about done that. Now I said I wanted to recreate this number line, so I would label this as 30 down here. And I would label the top as 40. Easy, right? Just a few steps. First step was drawing the vertical line. The second step was drawing the notches. And the last step is going to be labeling the middle number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and that's it. I hope you guys just got a chance to practice. We're going to do one more. So here I have 2 10s at the bottom and 3 10s at the top. I want to figure out what would make sense for me to have in the middle. So first, let's figure out what 2 10s equals. We know 2 10s equals, well, 2 times 10, that's 20. Okay? Next, I'm going to think about what 3 10s equal, and I'm just going to have that written there so I don't get confused. 3 10s is going to equal, okay, 3 10s, 30. 3 times 10 is 30. So now that I know that 20 is at the bottom and 30 is at the top, I got to think about what makes sense and what would be in the middle. So I can go ahead and count these lines. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 is in the middle, and I know that makes sense because 5 is halfway between 0 and 10. So 25. And it was important that we solved these two ends of our number line first. That way the answer was clear and we were accurate when we were finding our middle number. All right, we're going to move on to our concept development. So we have a word problem here. We're going to read, we're going to draw, and we're going to write. This beaker has 73 milliliters of water in it. We're going to show the amount on a vertical number line. Draw a vertical number line like in today's fluency practice. So we are talking about the number 73. They're referring to 73 as how much water is inside. Okay? So if I'm talking about the 7 tens, I'm going to write 7 tens down here. And we know 7 tens equals 70. Well, what number would go up top? I wouldn't skip right up to 100 because there's not that many notches in the middle. I only have 10 spaces in the middle. I only have 10 spaces on this number line. So if I only have 10 spaces on this number line, 7 tens here is going to go on the bottom. And it looks like 8 tens would make sense to go on top. And I know 8 tens equals 80. Okay. 7 tens equals 70. So now that I've labeled my number line, I have 7 tens down here, 8 tens up here, and I have to label where 73 would go. Well, 73, I'm going to start by counting just one by one. 70, 71, 72, 73. 73 is right here. I'm going to move it up a little bit. And then instead of our halfway point today, although this part of our number line is blue, it's not referring to our halfway point right now. We're just talking about the number 73. So that's a little bit different than what we were talking about in the last few problems, but it wasn't difficult. I think it makes a lot of sense when you look at this picture and the lines and the spaces. It just makes sense. Of course, if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me on Dojo or email or my cell phone. And we're also going to be wrapping this up on Zoom on Wednesday. We're going to move on. This beaker has 61 milliliters of water in it. We're going to show the amount on a vertical number line. Okay, so our number line's ready for us. We're talking about the number 61. So we're going to round this to the nearest 10. 61 rounds down to the nearest 10 of 60. The next 10 that you get, because we're going 10 lines, 60, 70. So now we've labeled our bottom part of our number line and the top part of our number line. We're going to go ahead and figure out where 61 goes. Well, it would make more sense for me to start at 60 and count up by 1. There's 61, and I'm going to go ahead and label it. 61. There we go. This beaker has 38 milliliters of water in it. We're going to show the amount on a vertical number line. Okay, well, 38. What does 38 round to? Well, I wouldn't round 38 down, all the way down to 30 just yet. I would start by rounding 38 up to 40. So we're going to round 38 up to 40. So 40 is going to go on the top of the number line. I know I only have 10 lines, 10 spaces here. So I only can have 30 down here at the bottom. If I want to identify where 38 goes, it makes more sense for me to start at 40 and count back by 2. 40, 39, 38. This line right here. I'm going to go ahead and drag my box and label 38 here. And one last example, guys, and then we're going to do our exit ticket. This beaker has 25 milliliters of water in it. Show the amount on a vertical number line. Okay, so we're talking about the number 25. Now, 5s are tricky. When you're rounding a number where the ones place has a 5 in it, you're always going to round up. So when we round up, 25 rounds up to 30. So 30 is going to go on the top of the number line. Now I only have 10 spaces, so it would only make sense for me to have 20 down here at the bottom. 25, this one's nice and easy. 20 and 30, right in the middle goes 25. I hope this is all making sense for you guys. Like I said, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or need some clarity, okay? We're talking about rounding here. We're using vertical number lines to show our thinking. And lastly, we have an assignment. I'm going to ask you to label this vertical number line and about where 46 would go on it. We're going to review this in Wednesday's Zoom lesson. So I have a picture of a golf ball on a scale, and this golf ball weighs 46 grams. So I would like for you to label the weight that would go here, the weight that would go here, and where 46 would go here in the middle. Don't let this line right here in the middle confuse you. 46 might not go right there because 46 isn't exactly in the middle of anything. So go ahead and think of that. If you'd like to rewind to a few of the other examples, I'd love for you to do that. we are going to be reviewing this on Wednesday at our Zoom lesson, and then we're going to reinforce what we are talking about here today with a few examples. And then, like I said, next week we're going to have a brand new concept. I hope that you all are doing well. I miss you all so very much, and I cannot wait until this is all over. Whether it's over this week, next week, or even next year, I can't wait to see you guys back in school. All right, I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.